everyone. Am I on? Doesn't sound like it. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, they're okay. There we go. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lynn Israel, and I have created this service, and I'm going to present it to you today. Tina Jones, and I thought Lisa Merrill Price, but maybe not, are providing technical support, and Steve Israel is our sound person. I'm not sure who our greeter was today. Colleen, thank you so much. Colleen, where are you? There she is. Okay, she was our greeter today. Thank you. And thank you to our music coordinator, Sophia. Please be aware we are recording this service, and it will be posted on our YouTube page. For privacy, we pause the recording during our Joys and Concerns segment. Here at the Maumee Valley Unitarian Universalist congregation, our goal is to provide a welcoming space for people to come together, to experience religious freedom, find a community, grow spiritually, and explores ways to make a positive difference in the lives of others. We draw on a wide variety of resources to provide stimulating and meaningful Sunday services. We encourage you to attend several services to gain a good understanding of who we are. For further news, please remember to read our weekly email, which provides comprehensive information about everything going on at MVUUC. Visitors, if you'd like to start receiving that weekly email, make sure to fill out one of the blue cards found in the seat back pocket and put the card in the box that's out on the greeters table. Please take a minute to greet your neighbors. Oh. Okay. All right, the chalice today will be lit by Carla Brundrett. Yes. Oh yeah, and I didn't even show you how to do it. I bet you can figure it out. On the side or the bottom? Ooh, those are actually the dead ones. Get a new one out of them. There we go.
You got this, Carla.
Yay! All right, here we go. Please join me in reading the words. Thanks, Carla. Provided for you as we light the chalice. Come into this circle of caring. We light this chalice as a beacon of hope, a sign of our listening, and a quest for clearer understanding of ourselves and others. We honor our shared moments in life. Now is the time for sharing of joys and concerns. Tina, please stop recording the service at this time. Please stand and, you may start recording again, Tina. Please stand and join me and Sophia in singing hymn number 360, Here We Have Gathered. And actually, we're going to watch a video for the accompaniment of this one, Here We Have Gathered, but it is in your gray hymnal, number 360.
We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. Sing now in friendship this our heart's own song.
Oh, Buffy.
Our opening words, Our Faith, by Edward Shemp. Unitarian Universalism is a fierce belief in the way of freedom and reverence for the sacred dignity of each individual. With Thomas Jefferson, we have sworn eternal hostility against every tyranny over the mind. Unitarian Universalism is cooperation with a universe that created us. It is a celebration of life. It is being in love with goodness and justice. It is a sense of humor about absolutes. Unitarian Universalism is faith in people, hope for tomorrow's child, confidence in a continuity that spans all time. It looks not to a perfect heaven, but toward a good earth. It is respectful of the past, but not limited to it. It is trust in growing and conspiracy with change. It is spiritual responsibility for a moral tomorrow.
Thank you, Buffy. And now, Reverend David Pyle will present today's reflection, Agree in Love.
One of the joys of being a U.S. Army Reserve chaplain is that I'm in a professional working ministerial relationship with ministers, fellow chaplains of very different religious faith traditions than Unitarian Universalism. Over the last 5 years, I've been in ministry with 2 Roman Catholic priests, 1 conservative rabbi, 1 Pentecostal minister, 1 Episcopal priest, 2 evangelical ministers, a Presbyterian minister, a Southern Baptist pastor, and a pastor for the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Now, these are not just interfaith collegial relationships. We're all in ministry together, in essence, serving the same congregation. My current supervisor is one of those evangelical ministers. I have been the supervisor for many of them at one point or another. Over the last 6 years that I've been part of the 8th Medical Brigade and the Army Reserve Sustainment Command. Over my 16 years in the Army Chaplain Corps, I've been in such ministerial relationships with hundreds of other military chaplains, many of them from very different faith traditions than our own, often very religiously conservative faith traditions. And in most cases, I'm the first Unitarian Universalist they have ever met. Many of them have never even imagined that a faith tradition like ours could even exist. I could not count the number of conversations I've had trying to explain what it means to be part of a covenantal faith, where we do not even pretend to believe the same things, and yet are in committed religious community with one another. These military chaplain colleagues will ask me what I believe about God, Jesus, heaven, hell, salvation, and sin, and I will tell them. And when they're hovering on the edge of apoplexy, and in some cases I'm beginning to worry about their blood pressure, I issue the coup de grace. I say something like, but you know, that's just me, just my faith. Many Unitarian Universalists have very different ideas about these things than I do. Boom. Mind blown. look of total confusion. What? I thought you were telling me what Unitarian Universalists believe. Oh no, I say. Most of the congregations I have served have thought my beliefs were quite odd. That is what makes it fun. Now we, in this online worship service, I bet we get what I'm saying here. But my dear military chaplain colleagues, at this point either storm off in complete confusion, usually with some comments about heresy in the afterlife, or they become really curious about Unitarian Universalism and about how a faith tradition like ours could exist and even thrive. It's that second group, the curious chaplains, that I know I'm going to like. And I've learned more about Unitarian Universalism from their questions than I did from attending a Unitarian Universalist seminary. The idea of a faith tradition that is not bound together by a shared doctrine, a shared set of beliefs, is a very difficult idea for them to grasp. After a long conversation with one of my colleagues a few summers ago, an African-American Southern Baptist pastor from Oklahoma, in which I discussed the idea of our congregations as being bound in covenantal relationship and committed to building the beloved community. He looked at me and he said, "So basically you all are trying to be the church that Jesus talked about, rather than believe all the things about Jesus." I told him I probably would never have framed it that way, and I still don't know how often we achieve being that kind of a community. But I could go with that understanding. And that I personally still believe some of those things about Jesus, even if others of my faith tradition did not. Being the beloved community, being the church that Jesus talked about in my friend and colleague's words and understanding, it's a high ideal. It's an amazingly difficult standard that we set for ourselves as Unitarian Universalists, setting forth ideals as radical as the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations at the center of our commitments to make one another, that we make to one another, makes being in religious community a difficult and sometimes painful spiritual practice. We ask a lot of our religious communities that we create, and we hold those communities up to a set of ideals that we really can only ever strive to achieve. When I have the in-depth and serious conversations with those curious chaplain colleagues of mine about Unitarian Universalism, one of the most common reactions is that they cannot believe that we can pull this off, that we are able to remain in religious community with one another. They think of their own congregations and try to imagine being in religious community without a unifying center of belief, scripture, theology, and practice. And what they tell me is that they just cannot imagine it. They cannot imagine how such a congregation could remain together without that kind of identified center. Because they know how difficult it is to be in religious community. That it's always challenging, even when we are not reinventing church in the middle of a pandemic. Think about it. We invite people into community to invest their deepest and highest aspirations, their hopes and their dreams, to invest a part of their soul. We invite people into relationships where we call upon each other to be vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, we can hurt one another. This is not just true of Unitarian Universalism. This is true of every religious community. My military chaplain colleagues see this in their own traditions, and they know that in those times when the community is not at its best, when there is conflict that is not engaged well, or when people are wounded within the community, they know that they can turn to their sacred story, their sacred scripture, their sacred ritual, their sacred beliefs, as the center to hold the community together. And they cannot imagine how we, are able to hold our communities together without having such a sacred and common center. What I tell them is that in Unitarian Universalist congregations, at least when we are at our best, what rests in the center of our faith tradition is a practice of covenant. Not a covenant, not words on a page, but covenant as a practice, as something that we do with one another. Covenant as a verb, not a noun. Covenant as an action. Covenant as a way of being. Covenant as a commitment to relationship with one another, as a sacred promise made to one another, a sacred promise that holds us together, even when being together is hard. Oh, our congregations have covenants that are nouns, things written on paper, printed on the wall, or read at the beginning of meetings. The Unitarian Universalist Association that I serve and that I work for as a congregational life consultant and as the Mid-America regional lead, our association exists because there is a written covenant between all of the more than 1,000 congregations, a covenant that each congregation, your congregation, has made with all of the other congregations. It is from that covenant that the 7 principles and the 6 sources come. It is a sacred promise that your congregation has made to all the other congregations across the country and beyond. A covenant is a set of promises that we make to one another in a Unitarian Universalist religious community in light of something larger than ourselves. A covenant is a commitment to the relationships we have with one another and to making, maintaining, and strengthening those relationships a religious practice, even when and especially when times are difficult. As we make that commitment to relationship, because together we can achieve something important that we could not achieve by ourselves. Because these religious communities we form matter not only in our own lives, but in the lives of people we have never met and may not ever know. Hosea Ballou, one of the preeminent Universalist ministers of the 1800s, who systematized much of the American Universalist thought that has grown into Unitarian Universalism today, Hosea Ballou captured this sense of covenant in his oft-quoted axiom: if we agree in love, there is no disagreement that can do us any injury. But if we do not, no other agreement will do us any good. In this, he was not calling upon our congregations to not have conflict, to not have disagreement. He was not saying that we all have to think alike. He was calling us to, even in our disagreement, keep covenant, keep the relationships at the center. Keep at the center the commitment to love one another. This practice of covenant, or covenant as a verb, comes down to this: keeping love at the center. And I tell you, it is a hard practice, especially right now, during this time in our country's history. In my civilian ministry, which is why I'm here with you all today, I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association's congregational life staff, or the part of our association that works directly with congregations on the challenges and the opportunities that our congregations face. A part of that work has always been helping congregations to learn how to engage conflict well within our congregations. Helping congregations to engage conflict in covenantal and vital ways when conflicts happen. And helping congregations to grow in their trust of one another, where they are willing and able to disagree with one another in love, in ways that do not become conflicts that threaten the love that must remain at the center of our religious communities. One of the things that I and my fellow UUA congregational life consultants have noticed is that there has been a significant increase in the number of conflicts our congregations are experiencing in these last 6 years including during the time when we have been together only virtually. I'm in my 10th year doing this work on both district and regional staffs. In the last 5-6 years, it has felt to me like helping congregations to engage conflict is most of what I do. And what is more, in the last 6 years, I've seen such an increase in people engaging in these conflicts in ways that cause harm to one another, in ways that do not keep love or covenant at the center, and in ways that make it difficult for people to risk the vulnerability in their religious community that is a central part of spiritual experience. It's not hard to guess what happened 6 years ago that may be feeding this change in the dynamics of many of our congregations. We've been experiencing a time in our country where fear and division are being used as political weapons more than in previous times, no matter the damage it may cause to those around us. And where many people, especially some of the people in our congregations and our communities who hold marginalized identities, where many people fear being made the enemy or the target of the fear and division that has been promoted and unleashed upon our culture. In such moments as this, it is in such moments as this that our practice of covenant, our promises to one another, to hold one another in love are more vital than they have ever been. It is in such moments when we are feeling afraid and uncertain that we most need to be gentle with one another. That we need to hold one another in love, even and most especially when it's hard. Not in love that does not name when we are hurting, when we are afraid, when we believe that things are not as they should be. For as Dr. Cornel West says, justice is what love looks like in public. Love never calls us not to speak our truth. Love calls us to speak that truth with compassion and empathy for each other. Love calls us to hearing one another, not only through the lens of our own perceptions and experiences, but opening our hearts to hearing the perceptions and experiences of those we are in relationship with, in our families, in our workplaces, virtual or not, and maybe especially within our religious communities. Why do we have to be especially careful to share our truth in love and listen with compassion and empathy in these, our religious communities? Because here, within the physical and virtual walls of our congregations, within these relationships between us, we've invited people to be vulnerable, to risk their deepest selves, to trust one another with that which is most sacred, to care for one another. When we share our truth and do so with a love for the other in our hearts, that is the center of Unitarian Universalism. That is the beloved community. That is the heart of covenant that is at the center of our faith. And there is no more sacred religious practice within what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist than this. So may it be. Blessed be. And amen.
Let us pause to honor the silences of the world as we enter a brief time of quiet reflection and meditation. Please stand as you are willing and able, and join me and Sophia in singing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. And there's a short introduction. Now, let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this church, which is important to so many of us. We gratefully dedicate this offering to the good of the church, the wider community, and the world. If you make automatic pledge payments, please place one of the yellow cards indicating this support in the basket. If you want your cash contribution to count towards your annual pledge, please put it in an envelope and write your name on the envelope so that we know who to credit it to. Thank you so much, Sophia. Reverend Pyle says, let us close with this thought today. The thing we practice here, that we do not need to think alike, to love alike, that there is more that binds us than the things we believe, the hope that the divine light between each of us creates an interdependent web of all existence. The world desperately needs that. In our faith communities, we are practicing to be the change we want to see in the world. At times, that can be difficult. We do not always do it well. And yet, it is the transformation of humanity that this world needs. Go forth in peace, creating peace. Please join me now in reading the words provided as we extinguish the chalice. And Carla, if you do us the honor. May we leave this place seeking an uncharted and freely chosen way to wholeness, knowing we have companions along the way. Before our closing song, we have time for a few brief announcements. Does anybody have anything to announce? Megan. Oh, yes.
It's me. Congregational meeting after service. What we're going to do, What we're going to do is, because today is potluck day, also woohoo, we're actually going to combine those, and we're going to move the tables They're over to this area here so that you can eat and meet, have sort of a lunch meeting of sorts. And so after service, feel free to load up your plate and then find a seat at one of the tables. I believe we do have a quorum, so we can proceed. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Thank you for being here.
Announcement. All these announcements? Okay, come on up.
For those of you who heard last week or who didn't hear because you weren't here, from 5 to 6:30 tonight, my daughter Angeles and I are hosting a freeform dance event. This gathering is a prayer through movement, a means of connecting with spirit through presence and flow. We will begin with a sacred circle, communing and sharing from the heart. We move into an hour of freeform movement to an intentionally curated playlist, and we'll close. We will come back together. Whoops, there we go. We will come back together into sacred circle once again, and if feel called, end with a blessing or prayer. Come to move, play, release, call in, create, express. Just come to be. What time does it start? It's 5 until 6:30. Here, in this space. Even if you don't think you dance, just come and move or sit and enjoy and be in community with some really fun people.
Hi, everybody again. So the birthday initiative, I am ready to start announcing birthdays. So this month's May birthdays that we are celebrating with our potluck, we have Steve Israel. We have Brian Snow. We have Malcolm McClooney, Lydia Snow, and Monica Brisson. So if there's anybody I missed, please let me know because there's oh, we forgot Lisa. Why are you not in here? I lost my sheet that had like birthdays written on it, so if anybody sees that, please get it back to me. But
Sue, could you read that list again? I think I missed the second person.
Brian Snow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lydia Snow's also on there. I went like chronologically. So Steve is the 7th, Brian's the 15th, Malcolm's the 17th, Lydia's the 18th, and Monica's the 31st. And Lisa is the 25th. I will write you down.
Okay, Laura.
First of all, this coming Friday is Brunch Bunch time again, and we'll be meeting again at Scramblers Restaurant across the street from Levis Commons in Perrysburg, right down the road here. And we'll be meeting at noon. Yes, 12 o'clock noon. And my second announcement is that I saw an episode of Firing Line, the program Firing Line on PBS recently. That was the most heartening thing I've heard, and I can't tell you how long. It was a discussion of President Trump, some of his ideas, and so forth, between a man that was invited to be on the program who was very right-wing, and then the lady that hosts it is has been in the past quite anti-Trump. And they have the most wonderful discussion. If you can look it up on YouTube, the program is Firing Line. You won't be sorry. It was the most heartening thing I've seen in years.
Remember the title of the discussion?
It's Robert Leitner.
Robert Light.
But if you just look at the last, I think it came out last Thursday.
Okay, super fast in the interest of time, Fellowship does have events coming up on May 15th and May 18th. Details are in the newsletter and on the bulletin board.
Also going to keep it brief. I added 2 new books to the library. Those are books that I actually made, The Legend of Jamie Roberts, Volumes 1 and 2. If you want to check those out, they're on the shelf.
Just very briefly, we have 4 new members. We're going to have a membership ceremony in a future service. But if you are not a member and considering being a member, it'd be a good time so you could join the group. Thank you.
All right, gang, let's see here. Oh, Tina, are there any announcements from anybody online? Nope. Okay. After the closing song, we invite everyone to stay for potluck and for our very important congregational meeting. Please now stand and join me in singing hymn number 134, Our World is One World, and we'll be singing along with a video. 134.